Coach Lashlee, great to see you, brother. Right before we hit record there, we were just kind of joking about, the Mustangs have every opportunity right in front of them, but it feels like sometimes, you're just, struggling to get to six, but you're way past that. You guys have looked amazing this last month. And Kelly actually in our, review episode of the weekend pointed out how freaking good you guys are in November. I think it's one loss in November since you've been there. That's unbelievable. How? Where does that come from? And what's the mindset to be able to do something like that?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. I think we're 14-1 in November over the this being the fourth year. We got to get to 15 if we want to keep playing this week. So, it's a couple of things. I think one, our staff and Sean Griswold and everything we do starting in January, we have kind of four core values of our team, and the fourth one's finish. And it's not fourth because it's last in importance. It's, we believe in family, competitive excellence, and hard work. And if you do those three things, you give yourself a chance to finish. And we want to create finishers in life, not just in football, but clearly football is a sport, whether it's every play or every quarter, every drive, and obviously every season, you want to finish well. And so I think we don't like over harp on it, other than just everything we do in our program has an aspect to it of it that involves finishing. And
Mhm.
then me, I have issues. My wife will tell you, like, I have a toothpaste roll at home. I'm going to roll that thing and like get my elbow on it till I get the last bit out, or like if we're watching a movie and she falls asleep, I can't fall asleep. I got to finish, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it's
I
like,
get it.
it's a little bit of just something we've adapted to here. But I'll say this, the first year we were here, that team deserves a lot of credit, because when I got hired, Tanner Mordecai, Rasheed Rice, Jimmy Phillips, a bunch of guys we had on that team, Jalen Thomas, um, within the first month on the job said, "Hey, coach, one thing we really want to do is we want to start playing better at the end of the year and finishing in November." I'm like, "Yeah, of course. Why are you saying?" They go, "Well, we haven't lately. Like, we always lose in November." And I'm like, "Okay." So I look back, and this was in 2022. SMU hadn't had a winning record in the month of November since 2009 when we got
Oh,
here.
wow.
2-2 a couple times, a lot of 1-3s, and so that first group kind of set that as their priority for that year. And so, it was our first year. We were 4-4 going into the month of November that year. And we finished 7-5, and we went 3-1 in November. We beat Memphis at home on senior day. And that was a big deal to them. We didn't compete for a conference championship in the first year, but we kind of started that mentality of that's important to us here. And really each class after is just kind of taking that and ran with it.
Yeah, well, it's a little redundant for me to bring this up, but I'm going to ask it in a different way. I mean, you guys are playing your best football right now. So everything that you're saying that has led to this moment is still coming true with this team. And it's just something that this program has, really hung its hat on. But I'm going to leave it open ended. What part of this team has improved the most to you as you're playing in the most important football right now in the month of November?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's funny this year because the second half of our schedule is arguably harder than the first half was. We knew we had a new team this year. Half the guys were new, so we felt like we would get better and better as the year went on. And then we had some injuries, particularly on offense and at linebacker on defense in the first half of the season. And then, candidly, we weren't very good anywhere, but we were struggling on defense early in the season. And so, um, I just credit the guys. What they did is they continued to believe in the team aspect in each other, and they just kept getting closer. When things got harder, they got closer instead of the other way around, which is unusual. And we were 2-2 coming out of the non-conference. We had blown a 14-point fourth quarter lead and blown another fourth quarter lead on the road, and we're probably 3 plays away from being 4-0. And here we were 2-2, and had some guys banged up, and we were about to start conference play, and they just kind of, it's almost like an Etch-a-Sketch, they shook that thing and started over, and we won the first game and won the second. Then we went to Clemson and won, and they just kept believing in each other, and they got closer. And I told them after the Miami game, yeah, we won the game. That was important, but that was the first game that I felt like, okay, this team has clicked. They figured it out. Like the way we're playing now, it's not that we just won, but how we won is how it's supposed to feel, like a team that's truly together, truly playing for each other, believes in each other, expects to win. And it's been a hard process, but it's been fun watch them kind of battle through the ups and downs of the season, and at least gives themselves a chance here late in the season.
I don't know what the point of bringing up that sub 500 team at the moment was, but I get it. You know, you want to bring up everybody you beat. That's impressive. No, it was, especially the way that you guys did it, and the Miami game, like you said, and we were there, and I was up close in person watching that. You know, seeing you guys, you know, force the issue, you know, march down to kick the field goal to tie it up, and then go into overtime. And the way you did it, I mean, just you kind of beat them at their game. You know, ran the ball straight down their throat there to end it, and you know, walk in the end zone. And I agree with you. That's where it kind of felt like, uh-oh, you know, don't let the Mustangs get hot at the right time here. And you guys since then have just been electric. And I really thought that was a changing part for the defense as well, which it's I can only imagine frustrating and confusing for you, but for me from far away, it's like this defense can be so good and take the ball away and score and hit the quarterback and cause chaos and then give up a 50-yard whatever. And now it seems like that has been severely limited and you guys are playing just total football. So looking on that defensive side of the ball, what has clicked there in your opinion where those guys are playing, you know, their absolute best right now?
Yeah, I think Scott, our staff, and really those senior leaders and those guys that have returned on that team deserve a lot of credit for, continuing to hold the standard of how we play defense here. Even when we were struggling early. I mean, again, we replaced 9 starters so early on, and then we had injuries. Both our starting backers were out the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. We were moving. Ahmad Moses played nickel against TCU. Like, we were moving some pieces around, and I think, going into that bye week, sometimes as a coach, offensively, defensively, when you have a lot of new guys, it takes you 3 or 4 games to kind of learn how the guys are in games, right? Practice is one thing, game's totally different. And then you were having to do it with a lot of new people playing linebacker. Now we're thankful for that because like Brandon Booker, Brandon Miazono played all those games early. Now they're playing great now because they've got the experience. But I think Scott and them just learned like, this is who we are. This is what we have. This defense's identity is different than last year's. What are we built on? And we've done a good job of stopping the run all year, but we weren't getting pressure on the quarterback early in the season, and we were giving up way too many explosive plays, to your point. We've done a much better job lately. I think going into last week anyways, we led the league in sacks and, lead the country in turnovers, and we've limited those explosive plays. Now when people hit plays on us, it's 10, 15. It's not 30, 40, 50. And when you force people to drive the whole field, you got a better chance of getting off the field or forcing those turnovers. So I just think we just kind of settled into who we are, everybody where they're supposed to be. We got healthy, and guys just gained a lot of confidence week after week since we got into conference play.
Yeah, yeah, it's been really clear, you know, just to see that. And you know, listen, people can point and say, well, it's BC. Well, it's you know, listen, I've seen both those teams light people up. I've seen that, and a team that was able to clinch a week ago and didn't. I saw them throw for 360 on them. They could not do that, you know, against the Mustangs or have any type of success there. I can't believe it's taken me 8 minutes to bring this guy up, but Kevin Jennings has been so good all year, and he's also been so hurt all year. I think if you do not cover football, you know, intimately or this conference intimately, you look at his stats, you're like, yeah, wow, that's really good, but maybe it wasn't what some expected coming in. And I would counter that and say this guy has played even better because his superpower has been removed for pretty much the entire season. And that's his ability to extend plays, to kill you with his legs. But he's almost been better with his arm. He's had to slow down and process and go through his reads. Just tell me about this guy and the season he's had.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Yeah, Kevin's been really good all year. I mean, Kevin's year's been maybe like our team to some degree. He's been more consistent, but no one's talking about the Mustangs, and no one's really talked about Kevin just because we had an early loss. I mean, that game we blew a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. He played lights out, and if we win that game, who knows what people would have said. But, he has since week 2. He'd been hobbled. I think this past week was the healthiest he's been. You saw him run a touchdown in, run around, extend some plays more than he had all year. But man, he's not worried about what people are saying. People are talking about him. He's just an incredibly confident yet humble leader who just goes out and plays for his teammates and plays because he loves the game, and he leads us so well. And honestly, he's the reason that we're sitting here this late in the season. As we got better around him on offense, we got healthier at receiver. Started running the ball better. We got healthier and started playing better on defense, and we got our kicking situation figured out and some other things. Kevin was that consistency. He was that one common thing we could count on week in and week out to keep us in games, and he did. And I think that gave our whole team and staff a lot of confidence. So, you know, they haven't talked about the Mustangs a lot this year. We've kind of coming from behind the scenes a little bit, and that's fine. And I think Kevin's fine too. But you're not going to tell me. And then we've got some great quarterbacks in our league, but you're not going to tell me one's played better than him week in, week out this year. You're just not going to do it.
I think it would be a silly argument to be had again when you really dive into it and see how he's been playing, which has been fun, to see it from afar. And still the fact that he's playing his best ball. I mean, back to back to back, his best 3 games statistically that we've seen on paper. So I think, the best is yet to come for him. Looking at this Cal team, looking at this opportunity, I know you don't want to talk about someone else's program, but they just fired their head coach. I mean, it's a really weird, kind of situation and a weird time that we are in, kind of right now. Just what problems do they present? What issues and challenges do they present? And, ultimately, what do you want to see from your team with the ability to clinch and have back-to-back ACC, championship game appearances here?
Yeah, that was a shocker yesterday. I mean, it's none of my business. So, but Justin is a really good coach, has done a great job there, and that one caught us off guard. I mean, last year when we played them, I thought that was arguably the best defense we played in the conference all year. They were really good, and they've got a different cast of guys this year, but it's much of the same. I mean, they're excellent on defense. They're number 1 or 2 in our league against the pass. They've got some NFL corners like they had last year. They're just different ones. They got guys that can get after the passer. Their scheme is really good. They just do a nice job of not letting you be explosive, making you drive the football. And, look, at the end of the day, you got to throw the ball to score points in college football. And if you're giving up less than 200 yards a game passing, that's tough on offenses, right? And so I think defensively, their identity is very similar to what it's been. And they're a winning team with a winning record, going to a bowl game and have a chance to have a 500 record in the conference play. So it's interesting, their timing there. And then, offensively, JKS is a kid that, we recruited him out of high school when, Keelan Russell had been committed to this for a year and a half. And then about the last month or two, when we knew he was probably going to go to Alabama, we started kicking the tires, and Ty Hawkins was committed elsewhere at the time. So we weren't sure if he was going to come, and we started getting to know him. I mean, he's super talented. And what he's done as a freshman is as good as anybody in America. I mean this in a good way. He's a gunslinger. I mean, he can throw the football, different arm angles. He makes all the throws. He throws with that confidence that Kevin throws with, like everybody's always open when he's throwing. And, as Kevin was younger, that would get him into trouble. And now he's learned how to navigate that and be really efficient, but he can make every throw. He pushes the ball down the field. He can throw on the move. And so this is almost as big a challenge as we've seen from a QB. And so, they've been an interesting bunch this year. They've lost a lot of close games, and then they've won some big games. So much like a lot of teams in our league, they're capable of beating anybody any week.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any doubt about it. When you have a team kind of like that, and it's pretty particular, they throw it a lot, and they don't typically have a bunch of success running it. Do you just do what you do? Do you try to pin your ears back, go get them? I mean, what's kind of your MO when you play a team that is so pass heavy?
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, they're never out of it. You got to limit those explosive plays because they make a lot. I mean, you saw in their road win against Louisville, they created a lot of explosive plays. Brian Harson's called plays for a long time. He still believes in running the football. So I don't know their inner workings there from a personnel standpoint, but they're going to try to run it. And so you still have to stop the run. That's still number 1. If we can run the ball effectively on offense and stop it on defense, that gives us a better chance of winning. And then it at least makes them a little more one-dimensional, and you can be a little more predictable. But if you can't stop the run, then it's going to be really hard to stop that passing game. So we got to do the formula that's got us here. We got to stop the run. We got to keep the ball in front of us. They're going to hit some throws. I mean, they're talented, and they got some weapons on the outside. And but can we do what we've done for the last 2 months? And it's get off the field on third down, create some turnovers when they get in the red zone, hold them to field goals more time than not. That's what we're going to have to do. But like I said, QB is so key at college football and really any high level of football. And, he's playing as good as anybody we played as of late. And so this is going to be a really good challenge for us to end the season.
Question about it. It'd be fun to watch. As I mentioned, you guys control your own destiny, and it is a great place to be in, especially with just one more game to play. And, you win this game, you clinch and are back in the ACC championship game 2 years in a row, and just a miraculous, kind of accomplishment there. And I know you still have to get it done, but, if you do and when you do, what does that say about your staff, SMU, the reason you came to the ACC? I mean, to be in back-to-back championships, it's a big deal.
Yeah, if that happens, I'll tell you what it means to us. It hadn't
That's
happened
right.
yet, but no, but I will say that it's what you want to do, man. You want to give yourself an opportunity, and going into conference season, we weren't sure how we were going to do, and then we started playing well, and then went on the road against a really good team from Wake, and found ways to lose that game, and with a hard month of November coming, I think probably a lot of people just forgot about us, and man, just our staff and our players here, they're just a resilient bunch. They just, I think the consistency with we do what we do here, and when it's good, we do it, and when it's not good, we do it, and I think our kids trust and believe in that. And someone asked me after our game the other day, um, how we're able to win in November or respond or whatever you want to say, and it starts in January. Just with the relationships in this building that we spend a lot of time on. Like, you don't just learn how to handle adversity or learn how to win tough games late or respond and all that in the moment. You prepared for it, and our kids and our staff have done a really good job. And it sounds like coach speak, but now here we are, 30 games in less than the last 3 years that we've won. That level of consistency is humbling, but it can't happen if there's not that kind of connectivity on the inside. So we're excited to get a chance to play this week, and with a chance to go to Charlotte. We got to go on the road. We got to go to California against a team on senior night that is more than capable of beating us. Everybody remembers what happened when Miami went out there last year. And so we're going to have to earn it, but that's the way it's supposed to be. The hardest thing to do in sports is to clinch something. And we had to go through that last year, but this is a new team. And so we've been playing well lately with little to no pressure, and now everybody's starting to talk a little different. And so we got to handle that with a lot of maturity.
It's a good point. It's a good point. It's a different thing when that pressure is applied. We'll follow up on the question there and ask it at a more appropriate time there. Last one for you, and I wanted to, bring this up a couple of different times. This feels like a more relaxed setting, but you signed that big extension, which is such a tremendous, I think, kind of notion by you that a team that took that first chance on you, now you're, not taking the chance, but you're committing to them. Why do it in the middle of the season? And what did you hope that said to Mustang Nation, to your players, to your staff, administration, and everybody involved?
Yeah. Well, the middle of the season, first of all, it's because our administration, Jay Hartzell, Damon Evans, David Miller, Bill Armstrong, everybody here, they were proactive. Like, we want y'all here. We want your staff to continue building what you're building. And quite honestly, that's what we wanted to do. And so, but, at the end of September, early October, more than ever, this coaching carousel, things just started happening, and you're not used to that as a coach. And so you don't really get to dictate the timing of these things. And so, but they were proactive, and we always wanted to be here. And so I think the reason is twofold. One, we believe in everything that we're doing here and everything that we can do here. We have incredible alignment and the resources to continue to grow and build our program. We're still a team playing with one Power 4 level recruiting class on our roster, and they're freshmen. Everyone we play has been recruiting at that level for decades. So we got a long way to go to sustain it at the level of other teams in our league and around the country have. But I think in the last almost 2 years now, we've shown, okay, we belong. And now what we're trying to do is get to where, we are in Charlotte more years than not, and we got to break through and win it. And we're in the, either in playoffs or in contention for the playoffs more than not, because we believe what we can build here at SMU. And, yeah, they were the first to hire us, so that's important to us. That means something. And there's just right now nowhere else we would rather be. And so the second part of that is because we believe in the vision here that we have and that everyone around us internally has. what this job can become, what this school, what this program can become, not just now, but 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, it's really hard to sell that vision to recruits, to current kids on our team that we want to stay and not leave, a Kevin Jennings, for example, after this year, if you haven't already proven that you're all bought in on it too. And so, one, it's where we wanted to be. Two, they made us feel incredibly wanted. Three, we believe in the vision. And so, if so, we have to put some action behind it and say, this is where we're going to be. There's not any gray area. We're thankful to be here, humbled to be the head coach at SMU. So we got to take the first step and say, we believe in the vision, we're selling you. And since we do, now come join us. And so that's kind of the mindset.
Yeah, I thought it was powerful. I thought it was great timing and made a lot of sense, man. Great to talk with you. Excited to see this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Cannot wait.
Thanks, EMAC.
Rollback just dropped their licensed game day collection. Polos, hoodies, Q-zips, custom designed for your school. On game days, we wear Rollback, period.